Hi, my name is Elsia Bang, and I'm a sign model and actress in Vancouver. If you've met me or if you follow me on social media, then you probably know that I'm a Christian. But today I wanted to share a little bit more about the why. Why follow Jesus? Why did I choose to become a Christian? And how has my life changed since I made that decision? Stay tuned and find out. I grew up in a Christian home, and most nights my family and I would pray together, sing worship songs, and we went to church pretty regularly. I was surrounded by Christian culture, but it hadn't become personal to me. I would pray when life got hard. You haven't studied for the exam, and then you're like, God, please help me. And even though I did that, I would say that mostly I just went to church because I was told to do so. As a teenager, my faith got challenged in a serious way. My best friend at the time was an atheist, and so was my mentor, and I respected both of them deeply. They were intelligent and thoughtful people, and I wanted to be just like them. But eventually, I started identifying more as an agnostic than a Christian. And although I still went to church with my family, I found that once I got to university, I didn't have to go anymore, so I stopped. When I was very young, around preschool age, I was bullied a lot for my dark skin. I still remember coming home crying to my mom after being called horrible names. And things got bad enough that my parents transferred me to another school. And I'm happy to say that the new school was actually a lot better. It was more diverse, and there was a lot of expat families. But I will say that the damage had already been done. And that early rejection had planted in me a deep insecurity about my appearance. Over time, I developed this drive to prove myself, to win, to achieve, to strive to be the best. And I chased awards and validation, thinking that if I became impressive enough, I'd finally feel whole. But no matter what I accomplished, no matter the accolades I got, it never healed what was going on beneath the surface. When I was 19, I was scouted and signed as a model for the first time. I remember thinking, okay, I can't possibly be insecure anymore because I'm literally going to be paid to be beautiful. Like, what more validation could you possibly need, right? But the start of my modeling career was quite humbling. I didn't book a single job in my first 7 months, but the good thing is that even with those experiences at the start, I met a friend who really encouraged me to keep on going, and that led me to connecting with photographers and putting myself out there, and finally booking my first modeling gig. After that first modeling gig, things really started picking up for me, and even though things were good, I did find that when the jobs came, I noticed something. The insecurity that I had been feeling didn't leave just because I was getting busy with work. If anything, it just shifted. I started fixating more on my weight, on my face, my appearance, constantly analyzing myself, and I tried to fill the emptiness in a different way. I tried to fill it with male validation. At one point, I decided I wanted to organize a photo shoot with the Black male models who were on my agency's roster at the time. So I looked them up and I followed them on Instagram, sort of planning to have a shoot in the future. And it's funny because not long after I did that, I was leaving my house one night, just walking on the street, and literally like something out of a cheesy rom-com movie, I literally bumped into one of the guys right there on the street, and we recognized each other and we exchanged a few words, and he told me that he would text me later. And quickly, not very long after that, I developed a huge crush on this guy. Then I found out that he regularly attended a particular church, and I had the brilliant idea that I would dress up, show up one Sunday, and accidentally bump into him there. I know, it was a silly idea, but I was young and I really wanted to see him again, and so I did it. So I arrived at church and I started looking for him, and he wasn't there. So I sat down and I just decided, well, I'm here already. And so I'm just gonna listen to the sermon. And I remember writing it down in my journal. The sermon was called "From Pain to Profit, There is Hope in Your Future." I had been to church before, but this felt different. It felt like the message that was being preached was aimed directly at the parts of me that I had kept hiding. The pastor talked about how pain can come from different places, sometimes from spiritual attack, sometimes from other people, sometimes from our own choices, but that Jesus is able to take what's broken and bring beauty out of it. He said that the first thing that we do when we're in situations that are painful is that we're meant to pray. Not perform, not pretend, but just talk to God honestly. There's a place for conversational prayer. And by the end, I just remember I was in tears. I felt the presence of God so strongly in that place. And in that moment, I just knew that Jesus was real. God was real. It just became so obvious to me in that moment. And when the pastor asked if anybody wanted to give their lives to Christ, I did. The next week, I came back and I was baptized. That means I was basically submerged into the water as a public declaration that I was choosing to follow Jesus. I can still remember the joy. I felt so much joy when I came out of that water feeling light, feeling clean, and just genuinely a new person. I'll insert some pictures of literally me smiling, dripping wet after I got baptized. I can't explain the joy that I felt in that moment. It was awesome. So that's essentially the story of how I became saved, how I came to salvation. But you might be asking, what's the point in me sharing this, right? And all I can say is, it's because I don't think that I'm the only one who was walking around and essentially living with a void in my heart, trying to fill it with things like achievement or attention or validation, success, you name it, right? But still feeling empty at the end of it. And if I'm being very honest, to be so clear with you guys, when I gave my life to Christ, it's not like my life magically became perfect. My insecurities didn't just instantly disappear, and I'll be honest and say that I do still face some pretty real struggles, but something else did change. I changed because I met Jesus. I met the Son of the living God, and as I've gotten to know him and gotten to spend more time with Jesus, in my quiet time, in my prayer, reading the Bible, I just find that I'm learning what it means to be unconditionally loved. And not just unconditionally loved by a person, but unconditionally loved by a holy and a perfect God. And here's the heart of the gospel. Humanity was created to know and to worship God, but sin separated us from him. And God didn't want to leave us there. So he sent Jesus Christ, his son, to rescue us. Jesus lived without sin in the earth, and he died on the cross to pay the price for ours. And when he rose again, he set us free from sin, hell, and the grave. And so anyone who puts their faith in him can be forgiven and restored to God, now and forever. And here's the part that still amazes me. I wasn't even looking for Jesus. I was just looking for the guy, right? The guy I liked. But God was looking for me. And maybe God is also trying to get your attention. Who knows? And if he is, will you open your heart to at least give it a try? Give him a try. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to my testimony. It is my sincere prayer that this video will encourage someone, and that if you're watching this and you're searching, that the God who revealed himself to me when I least expected it will also reveal himself to you as well. God bless you, and Merry, Merry Christmas. I'm wishing you an awesome holiday season, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.